Yeah, Sairam to all of you. So now maybe in keeping time in mind, we may have a half an hour to 40-minute session. May not be a panel session. Maybe I will request the elders to give their views, and it can be more interactive and more lively. So whatever questions, especially the participants have, how they want to take their career ahead, or whatever queries they have, they can post to the people sitting on the stage, and maybe we will see how the session goes about. Right? Okay. So I request Professor Carlos, Professor Sesha, Professor Anuj will join shortly. Professor Pallav, sir. Anuj, sir, you can just be there. Maybe you can just start the session. What are questions and queries, whatever we have. Or maybe a little bit about the workshop also, sir.
Well, the purpose of this panel discussion is multiple-fold, but if you have any inquiries or questions from all of us, I mean, you saw our talks. So if you have any questions on that, please feel free to ask in those questions, as well as then we will also say a few things on, for example, how you can get into admissions in US school, for examples. What are the procedures? I mean, I'm just throwing up random ideas. Research-oriented, how do you find good universities or good researchers, for example? If you have, Professor Carlos Castillo-Chavez is also involved in multiple boards in the US. And so if you have any questions about like organizations of big events such as like this workshop is one of the international events where both researchers from India as well as US are participating. So if you have questions on that, feel free to talk about that as well. Anything?
Maybe like that. You know us all. We have talked a lot. Okay, so let's hear you. So why don't we start right there? And if you have any questions, and maybe I can get up and go with the microphone over there. Is that okay? Yes. You have a question? Yes. Yes. Thank you. And we'll try to be very short because if you get long answers, then there will be one question.
While he's talking, please, the next person think of a question already.
Yeah. And we promise to make short questions, right, everybody in the panel? Yes. Very good. Very short.
Sir.
Good evening, sir. Sir, my curiosity to know that there is a US and Indo-US collaboration is there. Sometime DST, Department of Science and Technology, notify that there is a joint collaborative when we apply there, we always find the host institution and the host person, because there is a condition that there might be some persons who from USA, the host institution, he may send you a letter of recommendation, then you will send that letter to the DST, then they issue a grant and that offer you the, so many times we face such type of difficulty because we don't know many persons from that host institutions. So how could we get this difficulty? And
I think Pado can answer this very briefly, Pado.
So, you know, if you just look at who are people sitting here, right? So here is Arizona State University. I'm from George Mason University. You already have 2 universities in your network. The first thing is to form this type of a network. And slowly, of course, we can add more people to this network. Whenever that opportunity comes, I know the US, India, there are 2 of them.
Yes.
One is on the research front.
Yes.
The other one is the Obama Singh, which is on special initiatives.
yes, yes,
Which is coming from the India side.
yes.
And what they really need is this US collaborator letter and all that stuff. So I think the best thing is, as a outcome of this workshop, we'll be happy to start that network for you. And then, of course, Carlos with his many connections, we can have many people join the network as just faculty members. Right?
Thank you. Thank you for your shortness. Okay. Next question. Yes.
Sir, my name is Sultan. Sir, I would like to know a few things related to small kids like +2 level, right? So, like you explained, Professor Anuj explained about the intern from India, some student from India in your university or some program. So, what is that procedure so that me can motivate the students to join that program, and what is that procedure, basically most important procedure?
Yes, another amazingly short answer. Okay.
Well, you are talking about high school student, 10 plus 2? Or
10th and 10 plus 2, yeah.
Well, we have a program, but that program is meant for local US student. But we could, there is an undergraduate programs and all the universities are there. The only point is that you have to have, it's cost a lot of money. So you have to be careful what stage you are going and why you are going to those institutions. I mean, there are some fellowship which are available, and if you, for example, one of the things which is very important is a statement of purpose, and you can get that fellowship provided that is genuinely written those statement of purpose, for example, and then there is SAT scores that is needed for that.
So, okay, sir. Is there any, for female girl students, is there any special something? Female students, +2 level student who completing +2 this year, suppose. So, is there any procedure or is there any relaxation for the female
At what level?
student?
At what level? At what level does this?
After +2, sir. After 12.
After high school.
+2,
Okay.
+2, sir. Sorry, +2, sir. For internship, like Professor Anuj explained. Is
Well,
there-
the way actually any student from any parallel world can apply to any undergraduate institution, and the advantage in India is that they speak English. So what they have to do is to apply for admission for a school, for example, and they actually like to have students of different countries. So you will have to go to the regular process, and then there are many schools that they have a policy called need blind admission. So if they accept you, and there are some very famous schools, some smaller schools, they can pay everything. So for example, in the case of the young students that you have in mind, their history and their trajectory and how they're going might be useful, and there might be some small colleges in the United States that would be happy to pay everything for a few of them to come. It's not a program, it's not a straightforward program, but they have to apply, and the application you can say that this individual has no resources because of this, and they won't charge you.
Thank you, sir.
But there are, just to make sure, there are paid, if they are able to pay, there are several summer academies, high school academies, and there is we can send you a web link where you can find Boston University runs one, several universities run. MIT runs something called Primes. Primes is a math program actually. So it's for high school students, and there is several of them across. Stanford runs something called SUMAC.
But how much do they charge?
They charge. That's
How
the
much?
problem.
How much?
Okay, if you want to know, they charge very high.
Okay.
John, sir, $3,000, for example,
Plus
for,
travel,
plus travel and all this stuff.
That's-
But there are universities that give scholarships also. Some of those, half of the students get scholarships. So, if you're talking about paid versus non-paid and all that.
I just want to add in this. I mean, there is always, you can send an email to these programs and inquire about this. Unless you send an email, you will get to know nothing about that program. And that's how you will, the person will also know about you. And in case you apply it, because there's a selection procedure involved in it. It's not that everyone's apply for it gets into it also.
But typically, you have money, you have a high probability of getting in.
Sir, it's a general procedure basically. But for example, in India, there is a certain scheme to promote students, right? So such kind of scheme do you have, sir? Schemes. Yeah. Yeah, for promoting some weak students. Economically or.
Oh, so need-based scholarships, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the need-based scholarship is not for Indian, it's for any student in the world. And typically when you apply to a school, there are many schools that they don't know, you apply without telling them whether you have the money or not. If you don't have money, I can't pay for the application. If they admit you, then based upon your financial situation, they pay you. So for example, if you get accepted to Princeton, and you are poor, they pay everything. If you get accepted to Cornell, you pay everything, and so on. And many schools, they have some help for some foreign students because they like to have foreign students. And many students find ways of doing it, but there is not a systematic program. You apply, the admission committee sees, you get accepted and say, well, it would be good to have a person from this background here because it makes the university better.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I just want to add something because all of you here either research scholar or young faculty in Indian universities. And what I feel is instead of our thinking of going there and attending some summer school or some workshop, because which is going to be highly costly for our students. And I mean that the very fact that Professor Carlos himself said, how much do they charge, right? So if student going and attending this kind of 1 or 2 months course there, let us say minimum, even with scholarship and the 4 to 5 lakhs he will have to spend, okay, in Indian rupees. So what you and me should be thinking is that how to create a similar thing here in India, right here. Because for a program like mathematics or computer science, you don't need anything else. You need classroom, you need a proper good ambience of something like this. And then you are on for 2 months. You can do a lot of things. You don't have to go there, right? Yes, if there's something like some life science you are doing, maybe you have to go to Brazilian Amazon forest and see something. That is different. But for mathematics and computer science, you don't have to go anywhere. So what we should be, you and me should be thinking is that how to create this kind of summer schools, get only the experts from there. Get them here. And bring the benefits to our people here. So that is what we should be working together. I mean, just to add on this.
How to write a good statement of purpose?
Okay. For what level again?
What level are you talking? College?
Postdocs, it's a little different. But just to reiterate him, there's absolutely no reason why to go abroad for this program. There's absolutely no reason, frankly. And it is very costly. So people that have money, they will go. Good for them. But there is no absolute that you can provide a better program here. And I'll tell you why you will provide a better program here. You could get a program here if they get people like you being the mentors because you're going to spend a lot of time. And there, you go to many of these universities, the faculty is not going to be working with your students. They won't. Okay, so statement of purpose. For postdocs, there is no such a thing that just write a statement of purpose. What you do is you want to apply for a postdoc, then you there are several ways. There are several postdocs that they offer, different places. And there are application procedures, and then they tell you what to do. Now, the postdocs sometimes are specific. So if that's your area, then that's good. Then you can apply for them. There are other general postdocs, then you apply it, and then, but when you do that, do some research and see who is at that institution that you could collaborate so you can mention, you read a little bit of the research. But typically, you have to have a research statement. And you have, and sometimes they say, like, you have research statement, teaching statement, and different things. The best thing is to integrate it all, not to separate it. To say that when you do research, you bring also that into the classroom. So whatever new you are learning, that's also part of your philosophy of instruction and how you are changing instructions, how you're integrating that. And typically, if there is a specific person that you communicate with them, and then you know whether that person is interested or not. This is particularly useful for Fulbright scholars. For Fulbright, because you need to have a sponsor there, and you don't have a sponsor, then you don't have a chance.
Okay, well, this is a good point Professor Barua brought. All of you were part of this workshop for last 3 days. Did you realize what was the reason this workshop was created? And it was a little different than what you guys have been part of in other places, for example. I have myself been part of many workshops here in India. So let me ask you all now, what did you learn in this workshop? I mean, what did you see different? What did you take? Is there any take-home message that you are getting from this workshop? And this is a question open to everyone, please. Anyone wants to say a few things on this?
Or I pass the classroom to the first person at random, like we do in ASU. Mr. Operations Research.
Hello. Actually, sirs, first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for actually giving us your time, because we all know how busy all of you are, and it's an honor for us to, share your time with us. So what I'd like to say, what Sir pointed out. So one thing I felt was very unique about the workshop is it was a congregation of people from all parts of the world. So we not only got, for example, like George Mason University, Arizona State University, we had people coming in. So we had Professor Grillo from Portugal. We had Sir who's coming from Tanzania. So I felt that we managed to get the sense of how mathematical modeling works in not just one part of the world, but in all parts of the world. So how, for example, in Africa, it's so different that you can apply mathematical modeling related to alcohol problems. In the US, in Puerto Rico, as ma'am said, you can apply it related to gangs. So how the same field has different applications in different parts of the world. So I felt that was very useful and very different.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna say something. One of the things that we learned from is the importance of nonlinear dynamics, where the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And so this is the case. And then the other thing that I think goes very well with this institution, when you get a position, and you probably will become famous, when you get a position where you're well known, then when you get in those positions, you become a very privileged person. Okay? And when you are a very privileged person, right, the only thing that you have to do is to give back. So when we are here, I've been very privileged. So when I'm here, and because I have had these opportunities, I have had these privileges. But because of that, giving back is a small opportunity to do a little bit for all the things that have been done for you to get where you are, because nobody does it alone. You need a lot of help, and I have gotten a lot of help. So it's a great privilege for me to be with all of you. And when you get to this position, and many of you will, then don't forget that it's very important to give back to all the communities, regardless of any place on the earth.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sirs, actually, sorry, I had 2 more doubts. Could I ask that now, or we'll wait for everyone to finish? Okay. Actually, one thing is, Like I have cousins who have also gone to US and other places in Europe for an MS degree. So I just want to know how important is it with respect to the course you're doing in the university? Because there is always a myth about this university is good for this course. And sometimes, or you just, like let's say you get into an Ivy League university, so you just close your eyes and take any course they offer you, but you don't know whether it has the same value as the course, which is actually known for. So, like sometimes when applying, you tend to have the confusion as, for which course, which university you have to apply to. So I just
my expertise is to picking up students from totally unknown schools and not making grad students at top schools, making them professors at top schools. There is a big myth that the only good people are those that go to the top schools. I never went to one, and then I was a professor of many of them, okay? But they said, well, just an example, but that's what I do for a living. I pick up students from anywhere, and then 10, 15 years later, they are very well known. That's what I do. And why do I do this? Because it's very simple. There is talent everywhere. So what school do you go? You go to the school that opens the doors for you. The United States is a good place. India is a good place. There are many good places. At the end of the day, you are going to be judged not by your pedigree, but what you did. So the most important thing is to generate good research. There is a very famous mathematician that is Luis Caffarelli, which probably should have won the Fields Medal, but he didn't. He didn't get his PhD in the United States. He did all his studies in Argentina, and he got the Fields Medal. There is a recent Fields Medal from Brazil, same thing. It is not the place. It's the discipline and the courage and so forth. Sometimes it's difficult to do those things in certain areas of the world because there are limitations. But the main thing is to believe in yourself, and the next thing is to remember that all the great Indian mathematicians that are all over the world, right? I mean, and many of them didn't even go to school, right? You know a famous one, right? Okay, so this is not, the school is not the issue. The school is how determined and how you're driven to do what you want to and what you're going to do to do it. And if you go to the last rank school and you do a great job, you will move up and up and up and up, and eventually you will be well known by your work. The best thing is to remember how that everything is here, and not that you are super brilliant, is that you are determined not to give up. That's the key thing. And many people get despair because I don't have this, I don't have that. Nobody's going to fix that for you. So don't wait for that, okay? So I'm sure that's what I'm sure after we have talked to you, that you have a great future because nobody's going to stop you.
Okay. Any more questions?
Sir, you are speaking about getting down the education, like really undergraduate kind of maths down to kids, like use simple concepts of limits and all that kind of stuff. How much of such mathematics do you think you can take it down to an age group like that? And how do you think it's is it possible to do?
So to really young, for example, taking undergraduate subjects to inside school, right? So I would strongly suggest don't go thinking I'm going to take this theorem and I'm going to take it into middle school. Make it more interesting in terms of, for example, if you were to do SIR model and you want to teach it to 5th graders, make it a game. Give them each papers, and one paper will say 0, everybody's papers will say 1, and let them each come together and multiply the numbers. Every time so the product becomes 0, they just got infected. They are just learning multiplication. But they're having fun actually, or have them shake hands and things like that. So and then you teach the concept. So the problem is we end up teaching the concept first and then show them the problem. It should exactly like Carlos said, let the problem drive the mathematics. Don't let the mathematics drive the problem. So in the same way, don't let what you want to teach in undergraduate education, don't bring it like topology. I want to bring topology into middle school. but make it in a very interesting way, you know. So
One of the most important things to remember is that most kids that you're going to talk to, they're not going to be mathematicians. Even though they have mathematical talent, they might not want to be mathematicians. So you don't want to start training them like mathematicians when they are very, very young. In addition, there is now a lot of study about the brain and how people learn. Tremendous research. So you want to figure out how to, you have to go and read, in fact, all that information. So for example, people that do math education, and math education is not mathematics, by the way. There's people learn, how do people learn, for example, the exponential growth? And try to explain people how to learn exponential growth, and try to explain yourself how you learn exponential growth, and it's very difficult. And sometimes there are developmental issues. There are things that your brain is not ready to develop. There are people that are more geometric. There are people more analytic. There are different kinds of people. So it's very, very complicated. Learning is very, very complicated. I have had students that I thought some point, God, this guy is never going to do something interesting. Next thing I know, they have 5, 6 papers in some of the top journals. And I say, what the hell did I miss? And I don't know. It is very difficult to figure that out. So you have to be, with kids, let's be sure that they have fun, that they're little disciplined, and they don't lose their desire to discover things, and they don't come with crazy ideas. They keep them that way. And that's all you can do. You want to work with little kids. You want to get them interested in science, interested in math, interested in this, but you don't know what they're going to do. But, you know, you might be talking to the next Nobel laureate in medicine, and you don't know.
On the first day, I actually in my talk had 2 assignments. One assignment was actually not on the first day. First day I had one assignment, which was to check on the video for Sonam Wangchuk. How many of you have actually went on to see this video of Sonam Wangchuk? Okay, good. One person at least. And then there was a second assignment was on Contagion movie that I was talking to you about in this workshop session with Padu. And the reason I wanted you to see those things, Sonam Wangchuk is a very good example for Indian scenario. And I actually studied in Indian environments and the educational system, so I see the difference and the strength also here. So every system has its own strength also. Sonam Wangchuk have created this beautiful system in Ladakh area, education, and he's a nationally recognized reformist. So this would be, I would strongly advise you guys to browse some of his videos where you will see how he has effectively transformed many things in this area. And Carlos is probably writing. So I think there are lots of examples in Arizona State University, which Carlos has been mentoring, and I have been part of the same group, where students have come from very, I mean, they had no prior background on mathematics, and they have come on to become well-run, I mean, got a PhD degree from well institutes, basically, and published 7, 8 papers while graduating with PhD.
Carlos is probably writing about a movie, several movies, but one movie I can remember called Spare Parts, if you have not seen that, about four. That's not a good one, but yeah, but he's got to talk. But I just wanted to also tell you.
That's the Hollywood version.
That's the Hollywood. Yeah, Stand and Deliver is really, really good also. So just to give you a perspective again, that younger kids, you don't want to teach them a subject. Younger kids, you want to teach them a competency. What am I talking about? Critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. If you can teach them these 4 things and citizenship, then you've actually done your job, okay? So in terms of, so how do you bring mathematics and critical thinking, mathematics and creativity, those types of things. So don't think of bringing topology inside, for example, but bring something like critical thinking or creativity. That'll be.
So I'm going to set up a little documentary. This is a long documentary, so this is just a clip. And the clip is called Underwater Dreams. That's the. And this is a documentary, so it's not even a movie. And it was done, and when it was finished, it was, the President Obama had to, the White House and many movie theaters, many movie chains presented nationally for free. So I can tell you the story because this is really, really important, particularly given the question that you ask. So in the United States, very diverse population. So there are some high schools that are all undocumented students. In fact, my wife sometimes work on one of them. And there were 90 undocumented students. The word is illegal, but I don't like illegal because I don't think that people can be legal or illegal. I think that so undocumented is people that come typically from Central America or Mexico, but they're also from China and from other places that cross into the United States without papers, and they work, and they do all the work. They clean all the restaurants, they cut the grasses, they clean the pools, they do all the work that nobody wants to do. And in fact, there is an article today in the New York Times where in the 1930s, the US deported 1.8 million Mexicans. 60% were US citizens, but they didn't care. And they sent them because they were taking American jobs. Of course, 60% they were also Americans, and they deported them. So we have a history of that. So this foreign undocumented students go to school, which is 90% people without papers. And these students, these are low-performing schools. And when they sit for lunch, that we sit for here, they even sit. If they are, in this case, most of them are from Mexico, they sit on the tables that of the state of origin. So there is a state of, or a province of Puebla, and the students from Puebla sit there, and the students from Jalisco, and they sit there. And typically, they have terrible conditions. Their parents have to have 2 jobs. They are never home. So 2 professors decided to develop aquatic robotic teams, very much one of the kinds of things that you are doing, a robotic aquatic team. And then they put an announcement. The high school has like 3,000 students, and only 4 people showed up, only 4 people. And these 4 people that showed up, one of them was failing mathematics. The other didn't want to go home because gangs. Other didn't want to go home because his parents were not there, because they were 2 jobs, and the other didn't want to go home because they were being evicted, and he didn't want to be at home. So these were the 4 people that joined this, not the people with the highest score on X exam, just people that didn't want to go home. They spent working there, and then they stayed working there day and night. Then they had to get money to build the robot. So they washed cars. They collected, I think, about $5,000. They built this robot. After several months, maybe 6 months or longer, the faculty were so impressed what these people could do. They thought this is fantastic. And they had to do the design, and they had to do everything, that they decided we had to put them in a competition. And they thought, do we put them in a high school competition? And they said, if they don't win, they're going to be very disappointed, because we have hardly seen any group of people work this hard for this long. And people that we thought that they were not good for anything to do this project. So they decided, let's go to a university competition. So they go to a university competition. And in university competition, they enter and they compete with universities like, you might know, MIT. MIT had a team. There are several universities, UC, California, Santa Barbara, and things like that. And they go to this competition, and all the other robots that they have, they were luxury robots. They have the engines inside, and this had an engine outside, starts leaking. And they go buy tampons to fix it, and they fix it, and they operate. And it has a series of tests that they had to pass, and they pass very well, but they didn't know how well they were doing. Then there is exam. Sometimes they had to help it with their English. They had exam because they had to prove that they did the robot, that nobody else did them for them. At the end of the day, the award ceremony comes, and they give them an award. And I said, well, we're the high school students. We expected to have an award to be here. But then after the time progresses, they win first place. So you have 4 students that were considered not good by anybody, beating all the engineering schools, including MIT engineering, in an engineering project. Now, you figure out, if they would have told them, if you beat us, we'll accept you and give you a scholarship to go to MIT, they would have said yes. But now that they beat them, that was not on the table. So these students would have never been admitted to any of these schools, even though they already proved that they are better engineers than the engineer students. That was not enough. This is the problem that we have with education. And after that, what happens after that is what happens after that? The undocumented students, they continue to work. One managed to finish college, but the others continue to wash dishes and whatever they have, menial jobs. 10 years later, the people from MIT invite them to come there, but they don't know if they can come, because if you come into a plane, they detect you're undocumented, they throw you out of the country. So they drove, and they go to MIT, and they met with them. 10 years later, and the students from MIT, they were working for Google, Apple. It's not possible to see it, no? Yeah, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but I have to set up because it's important. So the question is, who did better? Well, the undocumented students have changed their school, completely changed their school. Their school now is one of the best high schools, with the same teachers, with the same money, with the same resources. Simply beating MIT and Duke and all these schools changed their mind. They knew they could do anything. So now they win all the robotic competitions. They have a women's team, they win all the robotic, the men's team, they win all the robotic competitions. Right? But they did something more. They created a political movement called the Dreamers, where they're fighting and protesting to help them, because many of them arrived in the United States when they were 6 months or a year or 2 years. They don't know any other country. They want to deport them. And they created the movement of the Dreamers, and they have become a big political force that are fighting very courageously, because they can be deported any time to change that. So that's what they accomplished. The others got good jobs. Hopefully they're doing something good with their money. These guys changed the country, and these guys changed their school. So we can run it.
Yeah. This goes with the two things that Professor Barua said. You don't have to go somewhere to do the internship. You could do it from here, right, and bring the people here. And the other thing is social change. See how it went from where they started to making a social change. I think since that's embedded in your institution culture, I think that's another good thing too.
I have it in a PDF.
They were a ragtag robotics team. 4 teenage boys from Phoenix, Arizona decided to build an underwater robot, just for the hell of it. They took their robot and headed west to a sophisticated underwater robotics competition, up against the likes of MIT.
When we arrived at the competition, I was pretty nervous.
The other robots were like pieces of underwater jewelry.
We looked like the carnival had arrived. Just a raggedy-ass robot.
We were way over our head. We noticed water in the case.
We're telling it to go forward, the robot's going sideways, and I'm thinking,
oh my God.
Oh shit, we're out of the competition.
We were all having problems.
My idea was a tampon. This was a do or die situation.
MacGyver would be proud.
But the robot was only the beginning.
Who are these punks from nowhere that had no business doing what they do? What is that?
They broke the mold and said, catch me if you can.
It wasn't about building a robot.
The 2004 team showed us that it was possible.
No matter what background you come from or where you are, you can do what you set your mind to do.
Kids at Carl Hayden High School become leaders.
They have a sense of social responsibility that was cultivated.
What is to show.
We should empower as many people as we can to build great things.
Boys laid a foundation. They inspired those behind them to see that possibilities could exist, to be courageous, to dream, and to fly.
Solve the energy crisis.
Make a difference in our community.
Be a computer engineer.
Develop the renewable energy infrastructure.
Next generation of autonomous vehicles.
Make them go faster. Prosthetics for kids.
Discover like alien life.
I want to be an astronomer.
So what you can notice about this is just there is a documentary. These guys were the real ones. They won the documentary won an Oscar. But the one of the most interesting things about it wasn't about building a robot. It was about knowing what you can actually do, and this was the important thing. And they did it all within the same program, with the same teachers, with the same resources, with everything that they have. It takes leadership, it takes spirituality, it takes vision, it takes many things like that, but it is very possible. This is a very emotional movie for me.
The similar examples is actually Sonam Wangchuk example. I don't want it to be played because it's in Hindi actually, whole thing, but I want you guys to see a person that I'm talking about. And if you get a chance later on, I think it's in Hindi actually, complete with this show. So some of us might not be able to understand that part. So
subtitles, captions.
How long is it? How?
In Hindi, 5 minutes.
Because that time it was people were not aware of this actual things. So. Yes.
Jio presents Kaun Banega Crorepati, co-powered by Droom.in and Patanjali, driven by Datsun, in association with Gujarat Tourism, Diabetes Care Partner Fortune Vivo Oil, and travel partner EaseMyTrip.com.
सज्जनों, मुझे बड़ा गर्व हो रहा है आपसे और आपका परिचय देते हुए। सोनम वांगचुक जी ये लद्दाख से हैं। सबसे पहले सोनम जी हम जानना चाहेंगे कि आपका ये जो नाम है इसका मतलब क्या है?
हाँ, नाम में क्या रखा है वैसे तो कहते हैं, फिर भी मेरा नाम लद्दाखी या तिब्बती भाषा में सोनम का अर्थ है भाग्य या भाग्यशाली।
भाग्यशाली, अच्छा।
और वांगचुक शक्ति और वांगचुक शिव के लिए भी प्रयोग किया जाता है।
वांगचुक शिव के लिए भी?
जी जी।
शक्तिशाली शिव।
जी,
ऐसा
शिव शक्ति।
बिल्कुल, बहुत खूब। एक फिल्म बनी थी
जी,
जिसका शीर्षक था 3 इडियट्स, जिसमें जो मुख्य भूमिका थी आमिर खान साहब ने निभाई थी उसे फुनसुक वांगडू के नाम से। वो भूमिका शायद आपसे प्रभावित होकर हुई थी, क्या ये सच है?
अब अगर आप कहें प्रभावित तो मैं ना नहीं कहूँगा। ज़्यादातर लोग कहते हैं वो आप पे बेस्ड है, तो मैं वो तो नहीं मानता कि वो बेस्ड है। इन्फ्लुएंस्ड या प्रभावित हम कह सकते हैं। मगर फिर मैं नहीं चाहता कि लोग इस देश में किसी भी काम को तब माने जब वो किसी फिल्म से जुड़ी हो। तो ये अगर हो भी तो मुझे कोई गर्व नहीं, ना हो तो मैं इसमें कोई पछतावे की बात नहीं देखता।
सोनम जी आप बताएंगे कि ये क्या है ये तस्वीर में?
ये आइस स्तूपा या बर्फ़ के स्तूप, हिम स्तूप हैं, जो कि एक तरीका है आजकल के समय में जब पानी की बहुत समस्याएं हो रही हैं, खासकर जलवायु परिवर्तन या क्लाइमेट चेंज के कारण। तो हम लद्दाख में किस तरह से जो स्प्रिंग टाइम में जबकि सारे पौधे पेड़ पानी मांगती हैं, उस टाइम पे पानी की बहुत कमी होती है, क्योंकि अभी ग्लेशियर्स पिघलते नहीं, जल्दी होता है ग्लेशियर्स के लिए इस वक्त स्प्रिंग में, अप्रैल मई में। तो इस समय पानी कैसे लाया जाए कि हम पेड़ पौधे उगा सकें, या जो खेत में कमी हो रही है पानी की वहाँ पानी उपलब्ध कराएं। तो इसके लिए हम क्या करते हैं कि जो सर्दियों में जब कोई खेती नहीं करता तब भी झरनों में, नदी में पानी बहती है, और उसको अगर सर्दियों में हम जमा दें तो फिर वो गर्मियों तक रहे और पानी तब दे पिघल कर।
जितना भी पिघला हुआ पानी ग्लेशियर वगैरह से आता है, उसमें आप एक ऐसा पाइप लगाते हैं, उस पाइप को खड़ा करते हैं, ग्रेविटी से, उस फोर्स से वो पानी सर्दियों में, जबकि -20-30 डिग्री टेम्परेचर होता है, तो वो एक फव्वारे की तरह छूटता है। जैसे ही वो आकाश में ऐसे छूटता है, वो जमना शुरू हो जाता है, क्योंकि टेम्परेचर जो है वो बहुत कम है, और जब गिरता है तो वो बर्फ़ बनता रहता है, और उसको आपने स्तूपा के आकार दिया हुआ है, क्योंकि
स्तूपा
वो अपने आप बनता है,
नैसर्गिक, नेचुरली वो स्तूपा का या कोन का आकार लेती है।
बिल्कुल।
फिर हमने सोचा कि ये कोन हमारे स्तूपाओं से मिलती जुलती है, इस कारण से बनाया नहीं। जब बना तो हमने सोचा कि ये जो समस्या के समाधान है वो एक इंजीनियर या साइंटिस्ट के नहीं होने चाहिए, लोगों के दिल को छूना चाहिए, इसलिए हमने इसे स्तूपा का नाम दिया। और न सिर्फ इतना, हमने जो धर्म गुरु हैं हिज हॉलीनेस छेचांग रिम्पोचे, तो हमने उनका आशीर्वाद लिया कि ये एक परंपरा और तकनीक दोनों का मिश्रण है, तो उन्होंने बहुत प्रसन्नता से इसे और प्रचार किया। तो मुझे लगता है कि जलवायु परिवर्तन, क्लाइमेट चेंज जैसे समस्याओं को इंजीनियर अकेले न सॉल्व करें, औरों से कोलैबोरेट करें, रिलीजियस लीडर्स, फिल्म स्टार्स, सब मिलके अगर हम इस चुनौती को लें तो शायद पृथ्वी को बचा पाएं।
वाह, क्या बात है। एक स्तूपा में कितना पानी जमा होता है?
जो अभी आपने देखा उसमें 3 मिलियन लीटर्स, यानी कि 30 लाख लीटर। आसान शब्दों में कहें तो जो पानी के बड़े टैंकर्स होते हैं,
उसमें शायद 10,000
10,000 लीटर आते हैं, तो 1 लाख में 10 हो गए, तो 30 लाख में 300 टैंकर पानी इस आकार में।
वाह, क्या बात है।
Geo presents कौन बनेगा करोड़पति, co-powered by Droom.in and Patanjali, driven by Datsun, in association with Gujarat Tourism, Diabetes Care Partner Fortune Vivo Oil, and travel partner EaseMyTrip.com.
Well, this was not the main clip that I was thinking of. He talked about actually educational stuff, and I think this show is like an hour or two long. So please go and see this one. And I will try to find an English version for Carlos also. Actually, he does naturally the same thing that he was talking about in American scenarios. I have working with him for last 15, 16 years, and he has genuinely transformed the community from students who have been working as waiters in the restaurants, in McDonald's, for examples, and have gone on to become a professor at University of Michigan at Ann Arbor, which is a top-notch university in the nation. And if he would have been thinking that, okay, this person has to clear all these GATE, GRE, and TOEFL and all those things, this student would have never gone to become and he would have not been able to track this talent. So there is different things that we are looking. I mean, of course, mathematics is important, but also the skill sets of an individual is equally important. And this is, I think, Carlos, you want to add some more stuff? So.
Well, the talent that you have in this country, you have developed great advances. You have some of the best statisticians in the world. I was very impressed about all the high-performance computing that is being done. Lack of opportunities to do something brilliant here, they are there. This is obviously it's good to go out to see how the people are doing things, collaborate, because science and mathematics are international. That's very important. But don't sell yourself short. There are a lot of really good opportunities in this country. But if for some reason there is limited positions to do that, then the world is your scenario, and you should apply to all parts of the world. It's always good to go out. It's always good to go and learn somewhere else. It's always good to do that. That's always, when we come here to India, this time, first time I have learned something that I didn't know. I really didn't know this part of the world. I've been fascinated every day to see the interactions, to see the spirituality and the values of this university. Many things that I have no idea because, you know, the world is very big. You have a very small vision of the world. The way I have been received here by all of you has been simply, easily extraordinary. I mean, I have hardly ever felt more at home and more comfortable. So this is the kinds of things that give you faith that we can all go together to make a better world. And one of the things that you notice from all these schools, none of them said, I want to study physics, I want to study mathematics, I want to study computer science. Where they say, I want to solve this problem, I want to solve that problem, I want to. They were all interested in prostates for children or energy crisis. It's very, very interesting to see what young people would like to do. And when you see what people you like to do, it is, of course, very important that if they develop their quantitative talents. But if we go and tell them that you have to learn this and this kind of mathematics, they're not going to be interested. But if you show them how they can solve the problems of the energy crisis over using some kind of mathematics, then they'll see, I have to learn mathematics to do the problem that I want. And that's the route that we have to reach a lot of students. And these students don't have to be mathematicians, but they would be better biologists, they would be better engineers, they would be better everything, better doctors, if they are more quantitatively strong. And I think that's a good thing. That's a good contribution that math and computer science and statistics can do. Do we like to say something?
Yeah. Okay. Any last questions or actually thoughts about? I mean,
yeah.
Like you said about the conference. If we could give feedback, this 5 minutes could be great. Actually, how this has helped you, or would you have liked to see something else? Either way is fine. So.
What was your expectation before coming for this workshop, and what did you achieve?
What did you
that
gain
expected?
out of this? Yeah. Yeah, please don't feel shy. Okay, this is feedback for us so that we can continue to do this much better and all that.
Okay, so what was the difference that you guys identified in this workshop versus the workshop that you have attended before? Can anyone point out what are the differences?
Yeah. Yeah. One mic. That's
Hello. Yes. Sir, this workshop is totally unique from other workshops because every talk which was held here, they were totally different from one another. Every aspect of mathematical biology was covered, ecology, and this workshop suits very much about its title. The title was International Workshop on Modeling Dynamics, Statistical Inference, and Prediction of Infectious Disease. And all topics were covered very well. And handout sessions were there, although they were little, but they were, we got the points. It was a wonderful experience. So I hope that Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learnings would organize such workshop and conference future as well. And we got an opportunity to attend these. And this is our dream project in say, because two main personality, Professor Carlo is here. So this is our dream workshop.
So if you want to continue, ask him to come again and again.
Yes.
Ask Carlos to come every time. So.
Yes. So,
okay, great. Anything else? Yeah.
In the back.
And
Go ahead.
It's my great pleasure to come here. As Ramsa said, it's a unique experience for me also. This workshop give me the idea where if I want to switch in some other area, so as a visionary level, I get so many fruitful things, and that what I think about that may be right or wrong, but here, after coming here, I realize that now what I think, it may be in some right way, and in the future, definitely, I will do something fruitful in this field. And we need that some other workshop or some such type of event in India so that we people easily access your abstract knowledge to us. Thank you, sir.
Somebody else?
They're going to be.
Sairam. Firstly, I would like to thank all the speakers for their wonderful talks. For me personally, it was very interesting to note that all of them who spoke in this particular workshop had a problem to solve from their own community. And that was being enabled by the mathematics or the title of the workshop. So for me, it was a unique experience that you can solve a problem related to your own world, a little world, and you can use your knowledge to achieve that goal for the whole community. In a sense, giving back whatever you have gained from the society.
Sairam, I'm an MTech student doing my first year MTech. So it was really an eye-opener for me that so much research goes in different fields, and you can also do some computationals in all the mathematical things. And I was really motivated by the speeches of all the speakers, and I hope further I will also carry this thing. So it was really an eye-opener and a motivation for me, this workshop. I didn't expect this sort.
I'll just add one and give us a good idea. Yeah, I just want to add, because Brother Shrikant Khanna put that comment that, whatever little problem you have even in your immediate neighborhood can be modeled, and that has been, I just want to add a comment that Shrikant Khanna has been teaching as a faculty in our department, and his courses, whenever there are courses like mathematical modeling or linear programming, I know that his assignments are like that for students. So it is very natural that he has captured this point in the workshop, and I am sure that we will be moving in that direction more and more.
Thank you. How'd you have a question?
Is that also like something?
Yes. So, Sairam to all of you. So I'm the student of Professor Vamsi. So from the time this collaboration of Vamsi sir and Anuj sir happened last year, I've been in this loop of how this workshop was about to happen. So actually, each of the people, at least many of the delegates who have come, have got pages long CVs, and it's actually for all of us a dream come together, means dream come alive actually. And as a research student, it's very important for me to know what's happening in different corner of the world in my area. So as you said, the world is very big, and actually India itself is very big. So with respect to mathematical modeling, so much happens in this country, but then the completely different perspective of the problem driving the mathematics, I got to learn, sir. And the way each of you discussed different problems, from the time Carlos sir started about his talk, from how actually this field of epidemiology started, where the root was, it was done by doctors, then finally mathematicians took over, and finally it became like an area for the whole society rather than just a branch of mathematics. And the way Anuj sir described each of the different programs that they're doing, and how even the school students and undergraduate students can think about research. For us, generally, it means you do pass these exams, do these things, then probably you have come to the level of research. So maybe I got a different perspective of how we can start allowing people to start thinking. And Seshaya's sir's talk was just amazing about how he told about the integration part, and how the whole process of teaching and how the process of looking at research problems itself is different. So for me, being a part of this university who hosted, it is a different experience which was wonderful. And also being a participant, it was just amazing. And I just thank the Almighty for just making all these things happen and all of us coming under one roof. And I'm seriously grateful to the department, and I'm proud of being in DMAX. Thank you so much.
You know what is the secret to a long CV? The secret to a long CV? White hair.
Well, every sentence he makes, there's a reason for it. The point he makes was a joke, but there's a reason behind all these things. So,
actually, can I hear from you? Have been coming to all the. Can I hear something from the two of you, or you?
Yeah.
You are from here.
Actually, I know they are from a statistics department, if I'm not wrong, right? No. So she's from statistics, and one is from mathematics.
She's a faculty in this. She's a.
They're giving you the microphone whether you want it or not.
Yeah, we're gonna force.
Sir, before coming for the workshop, I was like, my area of research is graph theory, but I don't know how it is going to be connected to this mathematical modeling. But after coming to the workshop, when I heard the talk of Seshayar sir, I felt like I can connect even graph theory with mathematical modeling. And even today morning when I when I saw the talk of Professor Nair, I felt very happy that I can use graph theory in this way also. So, I thank you very much, sir, for coming here and giving your, spending your precious time with us. Thank you.
Yeah, so we will end, but I want to say one thing, last important point. If you realize some of the selected from the national participant for the workshops are multidisciplinary. It's not only from mathematics. And our intention initially was to bring Sonam Wangchung for this workshop, but unfortunately last minute things didn't work out. And also to bring epidemiologist as well as ecologist into this thing. So that is the best podium where multidisciplinary, that is what we were kind of promoting, social change in this workshop. With that, I also want to say this is very, very important. The role that local institute and the local convener, organizer, as well as number of people involved in organization here at this institute, they have done tremendous amount of efforts behind the scene. And we should all give them a quick round of applause.
Can the faculty please stand up so we can recognize you? Please, Professor Barua, please. Yeah. Everybody that contributed, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. It is our duty to respect the national flag. So around 7:50, if you all can come here, then we have a spot for gents and we have a spot for ladies. So around 8 o'clock, we'll have the flag hosting. And the session may start once the flag hosting and the ceremony is over. Maybe around 8:30, all of us can assemble here. And we will end the session with tea and snacks. Okay? Right, sir. Sir, I have a tomorrow morning, Independence Day. Yeah, because otherwise you can't capture. You can sit here and it's comfortable. So now you have to